Welcome to this week's episode of the Prep Athletics Podcast. I'm proud to have joining us Kenya Jones, head coach of the Brooks School, which just won a Class B title last year in New England, and he just won Coach of the Year. He's been there for 18 years and has a lot of knowledge, where he explains that the Brooks School is a little bit different, to where they encourage their players to do other sports, do the arts. They got a great arts program there. It's a beautiful campus on a lake north of Boston. And we talk about his philosophies of getting in the gym, doing things on your own, Class B versus single A, double A, and triple A, and much, much more. So stick around for this podcast. And if you like it, be sure to subscribe on all the major podcasting platforms, subscribe on YouTube. And if you have any desire to look and seeing if prep school is the right option for you, go to our website, fill out the free assessment, and we'll be happy to get back with you. So now, our conversation with Coach Kenya Jones of the Brooks School here on the Prep Athletics Podcast. Enjoy. Welcome to the Prep Athletics Podcast. This is Cory Heights.
Some battles. I'm not sure if they got us. If they did, maybe.
So you will get better as a player during that year.
So it was kind of exciting. Like, oh yeah, somebody wants me.
Kenya, welcome to the podcast.
Cory, thanks for having me. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I've been trying to get you on for a while. I'm glad we finally got you here. And tell me where you grew up and what got you into basketball.
Yeah, I'm originally from the Bronx, New York City. So born and raised there, and then I got an opportunity to go to a boarding school program in Massachusetts. So not like your typical boarding schools or where I work at Brooks, but it was a boarding school program where like 8 of us or 10 of us lived in the town. It was in Topsfield, and then we went to their sort of regional school, but I had sort of boarding school rules, and so that's where I went to high school. In terms of basketball, I don't know, one day, I don't come from a big sports family, so I don't know how this happened, but I looked at a hoop one day and I was like, I like that thing. And this was probably 4th, 5th grade. And I just remember always wanting to shoot and play hoops. And then, went to high school and it was interesting is I played football for the first time. I played basketball in junior high, but I played football for the first time. Loved my football coach. And he never yelled, never screamed. And I was always inspired by him. And I didn't feel that same way from my basketball coach in high school. So from that point on, when I was 16, I said, I want to be a high school basketball coach. And so sort of worked my way through that. I went to UMass Lowell in the early 2000s, sort of hung out with the boys basketball team. I practiced with the girls basketball team. The coach there let me practice with them. And so I've just always stuck around basketball, and then got an opportunity to work at Brooks and then coach JV for a number of years and assistant coached varsity for a number of years. And, this will be my 4th year as the head coach now.
Awesome. And then are you a non-yeller based on your football coach's experience in high school?
Absolutely not. I won't even lie to you right now. I try. You know what? I'm passionate. That's what people have called me. That's what I've heard. Just a passionate coach.
I love it. Well, that's great. And then Brooks, you've been there for a long time. Give us your pitch on Brooks, both as a school and as a program.
Absolutely. So I started here. I started coaching in 2006 and then became a faculty member in 2007. And Brooks is a small school. It's 350 students approximately, grades 9 through 12. So we don't have a postgraduate program. The oldest kids that we do accept here are repeat juniors. And it's, when I talk about Brooks School or the program, the basketball program, I talk about the school first. You have to want to be a part of the community. You have to want to engage in the things. I say this all the time, that we're a school that happens to be good at basketball and not a basketball school, for whatever that's worth. And it's important. And while we've had plenty of kids go on to do great things, while playing basketball, that hasn't sort of been their only focus. I give an example of my captain. He was a junior captain last year, will be my captain again this year. He's actually going to college to Lehigh to play football, but he was my basketball captain, plays football. And then he had never done the musical before. So in the spring, he was like one of the first people on the stage, had a major role in the musical, and, has never done that stuff before. So the kids that we have here are ingrained in the community, and it's hard for folks just to specialize or single out in one specific aspect. You have to want to do academics. You have to want to be part of the arts, and then athletics, and they all blend in. And we give students time and the ability to do that. And that, what I found is that increases just in engagement all around. And I think, I always say, like, my best rebounders are always football players, and my best
Yeah.
on ball defenders are soccer players, and my best leaders are the ones that have been in musicals or been in the plays because they know how to use their voice in front of a crowd. And so, that's us. So I always talk about the school first when I talk about the program. And then our kids, I think the success of our program has been because, we don't have, postgraduates. And I'm not knocking those programs, but uh, our kids, start from the ninth grade and sort of build up. And so it is a program and a system so that by the time they get into, their upperclassmen years, they understand what we're trying to do and what we've been doing. And we lean on a lot of defense and being smart. And then, the offense, we typically cater to the players that we have on the basketball court. We've never been a place where we say, we're going to do this or be in a system. Our offense takes a little bit longer to develop throughout the season so the kids can understand where they're comfortable with each other. Me trying to figure out where they're comfortable, wanting the basketball and how they play. And so that takes a little bit. But yeah, that's us as a program.
Now, thank you for sharing all that. Now, Brooks is unique because you guys have like clean, newer architecture. It's a beautiful campus. You're on a lake, and you've got a great arts facilities there. Is art, take away from the basketball, but the arts, are they kind of a major focus at Brooks? Am I right on that?
They're a huge pillar to that. Yeah. And again, yes, before when I started here, and it's hard to even imagine what it looked like without the new art center. But in about, there was a push in the campaign. We had what was used to be the barn. This was a big farmland, and it was just a barn, and they turned that barn into an auditorium. That's where all our plays were.
Mm.
And we figured out that in order to attract, and that's a major part of who we are, and to attract those students, we needed to build a new arts facility. So I think it was about upwards of $20 million that they built that new arts facility. And it houses all of our music and visual arts and theatrical arts, and it's phenomenal. I tell my basketball players all the time to be in a production like our productions here. They have pit orchestras, and they create their own. They make their own sets, and they're making their own costumes, and that's a really, really neat part. And I've been in 3 productions myself during the winter. So when I was an assistant coach, I would do my lines and then run back to practice and then go back and forth. So I appreciate that aspect of who we are. So we're not an art school. We just, really celebrate the arts equally.
So if I'm a player looking to come there, do I get to just play basketball, or are the kids required to play other activities throughout the year? And are they required to do the arts program, or walk me through what the requirements are for your basketball players?
Absolutely. So every student here is required to do an afternoon activity. It doesn't have to be a sport, but you do have requirements. We're a small school. So if you're coming here just to, single out one thing, it's going to be very, very hard to do that. You can have a focus in basketball, and folks have done that within their respective sports. But team sports, you can have your football, or some folks will do cross country. Community service would be considered like as a team activity. Theater is considered a team activity. Theater tech is considered a team activity. So those type of things. But you do have to do an afternoon activity every season. Once you become an upperclassman, you can start focusing more. We have strength and conditioning that's built in to that. We do have yoga. Some kids will do in the wintertime. I don't know what they call it in the spring, but in the wintertime, it's just like outdoor sports. They have sort of a section of that in the springtime as well. So we try to cater to that, but you do have to do an afternoon activity. And then the arts are built into sort of your curriculum, your academic curriculum. So every student has to do 2 years of an arts while they're here at a minimum. The first year is just what we call arts exploratory. You are going through all of the arts, whether that's visual, theatrical, music. And then the second year you can pick and choose, but that's built into your schedule. And so, we and then if you want to take 4 years of an arts, you can absolutely do that as well.
Love it. Um, when families reach out to you and they ask about development, right? Like, what do you say to them as far as like how much time kids get in the weight room, how much time they get on the court, coaches come and open gyms? Like, it's kind of an arms race out there
Yeah.
now. So what do you, and obviously just to tell people, you guys won the Class B championship last year. You were coach of the year last year. So basketball is very serious at Brooks. You got a long history there, but walk me through like the timing and amount of time in the gym, weight room, et cetera.
Yes. So I don't push the kids. I never have to say, hey, you need to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, or you need to go to the weight room. If you want it, it's there, right? The ability to do that is there. The gym is open from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And that's every day. But I don't tell the kids you got to wake up. They built a culture where they get up and do that themselves. And so they will get up and work out. And we have a strength and conditioning coach here, so they will find time and create a program themselves. But a lot of it is I'm not pushing any of it at all, and that's because I want them to be more than just basketball players. My students here, I want them to be more than just that. And so if they're playing football, that's what you're focused on, right? If you're playing soccer, that's what you're focused on. Like, you don't need to focus in on basketball. Now, if you want to, absolutely. So we do have open runs on Mondays and Thursdays. The kids will get together. I tell them it's not mandatory, right? You come as you are. And I actually say, like, if your grades aren't up, or if you're missing classes, or you're late to classes, but you're at open gym, your priorities are not set. So you need to actually, and so I'll hold them accountable for that. But then that development really lies. It's really um, it's sort of independent. And if the kids come and say, hey, this is what I want to do, then yes, I work with them even more, because if that's what their focus is. We had a young man, Tamanang Cho, T Cho, who now plays overseas, or at least did last year. And he came to me when he was a freshman, and he was, 6'1", 6'2". And he was like, I want to play basketball at Duke. And I said, okay, sir, this is what you're going to need to do to play basketball at Duke. You got to be one of the top 12 best players in the country, if that's what you're looking for. Now, he didn't make it, but he got to Brown, and he became a three-time All-Ivy at Brown, and he worked sort of as a ninth grader here and continued to work and got up in the morning. And so you have those opportunities to do that, but it has to be very, very independent. And then, you could always push me as a coach and say, hey, I want you to work with me on this, and I'm able to do that. But I don't push the kids to tell them that they need to do that. Now, they also know, just through our culture, in order to make the team, you're going to have to do that. In order to compete in this league, you're going to have to do that. And to compete in the NEPSAC, you're going to have to get up and do that extra work. So it's really sort of student and player driven.
I love it. You're really creating independence there, which I don't think is the norm at a lot of prep schools. So I like hearing that, Kenya.
Sure.
Yeah. What are you looking for in a player when you're out there, looking at film, going to events? What kind of player ideally do you want at Brooks?
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. Hey, honestly, character is the first thing that I look at when
Yeah.
I'm looking at player, right? Character really, really, really is. What is your body language like? What kind of teammate are you when no one is looking? Like, I'm looking at that first. Yeah, it's great if you can, be a high flyer and run, jump, and dunk and do all that. But again, um, if you're coming to the school and you just want to be a basketball player, you don't have a great attitude about it, it's not going to be a great fit. It's not going to be a great place. So character is the first thing I look for. And then the second part is that what I just spoke about, that level of independence, that level of wanting to work here and get better. There's a lot of kids, a good number of kids on my basketball team now and in the past that I've never really seen play live. I just know that they're great kids, and they will get folks will, by word of mouth, will say, I think this kid will be a great fit for you at Brooks. And it's just through that word of mouth and those connections is where I really take those kids. So yeah, I've never rarely ever gone out to, an event and said, hey, I want you, because no, it's a lot of people coming in and saying this kid will be great for Brooks. And so we look for great character kids, again, kids that are going to be open to trying new things, to doing a bunch of new things. And I think that's important because, someone once told me that, all roads to basketball lead to some sort of rec league right at some point. And so, you have to right listen, one of the top lawyers of the NBA was a kid that went to Brooks, and he graduated in probably 2012, and his boss is Adam Silver, and that's a cool thing. But he played basketball here. He went to, gosh, don't kill me, Shane, he went to a NESCAC school, and graduated, and now works in the NBA. One of the top, or the top trainer for the Charlotte Hornets, right? Went to Brooks School, played at Merrimack, and then now works in the NBA. And so, like, you can use basketball as a tool, but we want you to be able to network and do other things here as well.
Yeah. And, the first kid we connected on last year, Pacholo, high character kid, right? So that makes
Absolutely,
perfect sense, you saying that.
absolutely.
What do you say to families when they ask about playing time?
It's relative. Playing
Mhm.
time is relative depending on the needs of the team, and then the players that are on the team as well. And so I don't guarantee playing time. I say listen, if you work for it, then make my job difficult, right? Make my job difficult to not put you in the game. And if you want to play on this level, you have to be able to defend your position and then rebound out of your position. Those are really two key things for me. We have a lot of kids, or we've had kids in the past that have been able to defend their position, but still not be able to rebound. And, that doesn't help. So you'll get on the court much quicker if you can defend your position and rebound out of your position. And then again, if you're willing to work, but playing time is not guaranteed. I try to get a bunch of folks in, but again, it really depends on who's on the basketball court, who's on the team at any given one time or year.
Thank you. All right. Appreciate that. We're going to play a game now. It's called Name That Alumni. So for prep schools, I go through Wikipedia, I look at notable alumni, and then I quiz the coach on whether you know them or not.
Sure.
There's no prize. There's no all-star board. It's just showing people who came from your school. All right.
Sure.
First up, have you heard, Anthony Perkins is?
Sounds like an actor, but I could be wrong.
He's an actor, the actor from the movie Psycho, directed
That's
by
what I was going
Alfred
to say.
Hitchcock.
Yes. Why I was thinking of gosh, the dude from Silence of the Lambs. I know that's not him.
Oh,
that's what
Anthony Hopkins. Yes,
I was thinking of Hopkins, not Perkins. Okay,
another famous horror movie. So
sure.
not too far off. All right, Steve Forbes.
Absolutely, yeah. Forbes 500. Yeah,
Forbes 500, and he ran for president twice. Yep, so
that's
Steve
right.
Forbes.
2000, maybe 96 and 2000, something like that.
I think so. Yep. And then lastly, Jake Burton Carpenter.
Yeah, that's Burton Snowboards, I want to say.
The creator of Burton Snowboards. Yep. So
Yeah.
I'll give you 2.5 out of 3 on this
I'll
edition of Famous Alumni. Yeah. There's a whole slew of them, but these are the ones I thought were the most fun
Sure.
and recognizable. College placement. Since COVID, it's gotten harder and harder. You having one team and only a couple seniors every year means there's less bandwidth you have to spend on placement. But what's your strategy, Kenya? I mean, are you letting you do the work? Are you working with let's step back. When a family commits to Brooks, walk me through your process on how you get your kids placed in college.
Yeah, I'm still learning that. I got the job 4 years ago, and it used to be just, AAU helps a lot, and then you play in showcases, and the coaches come, and then you sort of figure that out. And now it's really interesting with the transfer portal. NIL has also made it a little bit interesting, and so I try to come at it from a bunch of different points. Right? We talked a little bit before this podcast about using social media. So social media is one. Two, trying to network with coaches as well and create those relationships with coaches. Going to showcases. So the NEPSAC showcase in June is really huge for folks to see. And then through scheduling as well, I try to create a really demanding schedule. I try to schedule against other teams where I know they have sort of high profile players so that my players can play in that. And Alex Wilkins is a good example of that, who's at Furman now, who was first seen. We were at it might have been the holiday showcase at Rivers. And one of the Holy Cross coaches saw him, was looking at like someone else and was like, "Hey, who's this player over here?" And so, through that, just trying to, who we play against. So scheduling, social media, networking through coaches. I try to go at all of it, and I'm still learning on that aspect and still trying to create those relationships, because I guess that to me is going to be the biggest one. Those relationships that I have created, those coaches have come back and said, "Hey, you had this player, or who do you have for next year?" And so doing that. So it's a multi-pronged approach.
And what's the timing on that? Are you seeing more action in the fall now or after the season?
Typically during the fall, the summer and the fall, before kids are going into their senior years. I do see that after the season. I've had my players that have gone on to play in college right now have done their work pretty early before the season, has gotten that out of the way. So Marcos Montiel, who's at Colby, did that. Pretty much figured his out before the season started. Timmy Mulvey at Babson did that before the season started. Alex Wilkins, another one, did that before the season started. Emerson Davis from last year did that after the season. So, but it's a balance, but I think a lot of them are trying to do that before, and I would encourage them, especially again with the with the landscape of just not knowing and Me learning that a lot of these programs are either waiting for the portal or
Yeah.
getting from lower divisions to come up. It's so I just try to tell my kids, like, just get in where you fit in, and then you can figure it out and find a school, honestly, that you want to be at. And I think that's really important for our college placement, is we try to get our kids there to match it up with a place that they're going to stay for, hopefully for 4 years. And I know that's not always the way in basketball. Some kids just need to get in and maybe want to do that. And I don't knock that either way. But again, for us, it's a lot about just the whole piece of the pie.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Now, you guys are in Class B. You won the Class B championship last year. You must have kids that look at you and also look at schools in single A, double A, and triple A.
Sure.
What do you say when people are concerned about you guys being in Class B? Because I'm sure that comes up. What do you say about competition, exposure,
Yeah,
who you're playing against? What are your thoughts on
absolutely.
that?
Yeah, and as I just mentioned, like we play in Class B, but our schedule is incredibly tough, and I've learned that way from Coach John McVay, my predecessor, who always created a tough schedule. And so last year we played Brewster Academy. I want to say it was their prep team. I'm hoping to try to play them for our first game in the zero gravity tournament, but through our league, I'd say it's tough anyway. So we play in a 16 team league in the ISL that's made up of a mixture of class AA through B. So we get that exposure and that competition then. And then outside of that, I'm always trying to, get games against teams that are in A or AA. And so that's important, right? But even if if you talk about Class B, it is incredibly competitive, right? There's no days off, right? And it's not to say just because you're in a Class A that you mean you're going to be better than any Class B team. You take a look at Rivers and what Rivers has done, the last 3 or 4 years. Even though they were in Class B, they were knocking off AA teams and AAA teams. And so the classes really don't matter. I think for us, class size just talks about size of the school. But you will get that level of competition, at least at Brooks, for sure.
Is there talk on you guys moving up a level, or are you guys going to stay at B?
We'll stay at B. I don't think there's ever been a talk. I think I think you have to move up 2 levels. So if we're going to move up you have to go to AA. And I think if we go to AA, then it becomes, I think Brook School needs to focus more on basketball, which means that trickles down into admissions. What kind of players are we going to get, for that? And I think just by the nature of our school, we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on everything, on all our sports and all of our activities. And so I think B is a good place for us. It's a great place for us. And again, we're always going to compete no matter what. So even though it is Class B, we're competing. We've competed and beaten and played against the AAA through A, and they've been fine.
All right. What do you see as the future of prep school basketball? Got to get that crystal ball out.
What do I see as the future? That's hard. I don't know. I just, and I'm going to keep coming back to the whole school. I know for Brooks, you're going to have to want the whole thing. I do know. You take a look at someone like AJ DeBonsta, right? And how you have all these, great schools around here, but yet he didn't stay and then wound up, going out west. I don't know. And I think it's going to maybe trickle. I think collegiate sports are going to try to set a blueprint for that. Will that impact the NEPSAC? It could. I think it's starting to a little bit. You have that new academy that's being built out in Stowmats. That can focus a little bit more on athletics, and maybe that tries to keep the Cooper Flags and the AJ DeMonstas here. But I think that's going to for NEPSAC basketball. I think that's going to really be dictated by college sports and what that might look like down the road. And I don't know.
Yeah, no one does. It's just a fun question to ponder. What does it take to play guard at the Division I level?
I think the first thing is the athleticism. Again, so I talked about, playing at Brooks, you've got to be able to defend and rebound out of your position. I think folks think it's about how tall you are. No, we've had, especially in this league, and um, um, 5'9", 5'10" guards that have been able to play. It's the athleticism, right? You've got to be able to hold your ground, and be athletic in that. The second thing is you've got to be able to handle the basketball, defend 94 feet. I think if you are a small guard, right, you've got to be able to be pesky. Guards are a dime a dozen, right? They like you get a lot. I get a lot of inquiries about guards all the time. But can you defend your position at the Division I level? Can you be a leader, right? Are you going to be an extension of your coach on the court and know exactly what we're running and how to get your best player, if that's not you, or your second best player, the shot where they need it, and to be able to control tempo. But you have to have a voice. You have to be a leader for that. I don't know very many successful point guards who are quiet. That just doesn't really make any sense. And then if you do have some size and okay, are you able to shoot it at least a respectable clip? You don't have to be a lights out shooter, but can you shoot it and keep defenses honest? And I think that's again, rebounding, defending out of your position, being able to shoot a little bit, but being very vocal and controlling the aspect of what's going on the court is important.
Thank you for sharing that. We ask every coach that, and every answer is a little bit different, which shows you
Sure.
how it's just an unexact science, right?
Sure.
Trying to get those
Right.
guards next level. Um, Tell us about your work in the admission department. Like, what's your role, and what do families need to know if they're applying to Brooks?
Yeah. So associate director of admissions. This might be my 10th year in that role, and again, what we're looking for are kids that are just going to be, flexible and well-rounded. For Brooks, you don't have to be the greatest at everything that you do, but you have to have a want and an ability to do a bunch of things. I think, academically, we're looking for kids that can just do our work. We're not a pressure cooker of a school. You can certainly make it that way if you want to, right? If you want to take 5 AP classes, I was an advisor of a young lady who is now a soccer goalie at USC, and she had gotten during the summer of her junior year, she had gotten the scholarship to USC, and she came back in the fall and was like, "Jones, I'm taking 5 AP classes," and I was like, "You don't have to. You're already in college." She was like, "Nope, that's what I want to do." And so, that's what she was able to do and capable of doing. We are a school that, it's very collaborative. So if you can take 5 AP classes, great. You don't have to. If you can only take one, great, right? But we try to sort of challenge kids academically, and we want kids to again try new things. I have two former players, one who's at Cornell now, who came here, Nomar Tejada, to really, like, basketball was his thing. I don't know if he had played football, but probably not a lot of experience playing football. But because he had to do another activity, he played football, tried it. Now he's playing football at Cornell and getting himself a free scholarship there. Another young man years back, he probably graduated in 2011, Jordan Johnson, same thing, came here from Springfield to play basketball. He was a basketball stud, tried football. I'm sure he played in junior high school, but basketball was his thing. But played and got himself a scholarship to BYU. And so we want students to again to know that you're going to be a part of a community here, and going to be celebrated for doing a bunch of things. But you can also be yourself in that process.
I love it. We're going to finish up here with some quick hitters. All right.
Sure.
Best player you've coached against since you've been at Brooks?
As a assistant coach or a head coach?
Let's do both.
Sheesh. Man, we played against a lot. Oh man, the sheesh. um, the there's three that come to mind, but like one that was scary. And so Caleb Tarzuski, who wound up going to Arizona, he was a 7-foot monster. Like, he was really, really good. Shabazz Napier was another one, but I like Nick Stauskas trying to play against him. Like, that St. Mark's team back in the day, like, had 4 or 5 Division I kids, and we had to lay off one. And it was we were like, all right, let's keep Nick Stauskas, and he absolutely killed us and had a thunderous dunk. Like, I would say probably Nick Stauskas would probably be our, and that's no disrespect to all the other ones that we've definitely coached against. As a head coach, yeah, man, like just throwing to my side, who's gotten better and better is Ryan Altman. Like Altman was just and just such a nice kid doing it too. And that Ryan Altman was just a Swiss Army knife. And I think he's gonna have a great career at Penn. He was just one of those kids that no matter what you try to do, he's gonna find a way to contribute and put in that box score. Absolutely, absolutely tough kid.
Where did Ryan play at prep school?
Rivers, he was at Rivers.
Rivers, right? Okay, nice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
Silence of the Lambs. That's probably why I said Anthony Hopkins. Silence of the Lambs, and then Coming to America is a close second.
Oh, geez, two classics. Nice. And what are your hobbies when you're not at Brooks?
Yeah, I like comedy shows. I've done some open mics, stand up comedy by myself. So
Oh,
I
nice.
like going to comedy shows. I always go to that. Concerts. I just like going out and seeing. And to be honest, this really hit me during the pandemic when I couldn't go out, couldn't do these things, and I was like, you know what? When I have those opportunities, so I typically just buy tickets to a bunch of concerts or shows, comedy shows. And if I don't go to them, I'll sell them, but I'll do that. Trivia. I do go out and play trivia whenever I can. Travel. I love going to Europe. I love going to places. Typically in March, I'll pick a place that I've never been to, and I'll just pop over and go. But yeah, my life is just and then hanging out with family. Family's my family.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore comedians?
Yeah, so Chappelle definitely one. Eddie Murphy two. Richard Pryor is going to be three. And man, sheesh. What Bernie Mac is probably before. Bernie Mac.
Okay, good ones. Is there anything we didn't touch on that you want to mention while we're finishing up here?
No, I mean, if whatever folk, right? Like, so I think if folks are looking for schools, every school is going to be different. A lot of schools are going to have great facilities and great buildings and things like that and look aesthetically great. But for folks that are looking for schools, you should go and visit. You should go and put feet on the ground at those schools so you can get a sense of the community. Last year I was interviewing a family or some parents. And I think I asked them, like, what are you looking for out of a school? And they said, when we walk around, we're counting the smiles of the students. We're counting the smiles. And I was like, that's pretty neat. And he was like, this, like, your kids are just smiling and they don't even know that they're smiling. And so, that's neat, taking a look at people's faces and how people are greeting you on these campuses. I think that's important because like Brook School might not be for everyone, right? And I totally understand that. And if I don't knock this. If you're coming here just to play basketball, you're going to have a difficult time because we're going to ask you to do a bunch of things. You're not going to have a great experience. There are other schools out there where you can just do that, play that year round. But you can also do that at Brook School, but also be entrenched in a whole bunch of other things and come out of here well-rounded. Kids say that when they leave Brooks, college is much easier. Or at least their first year is much easier. And even the young lady, my young advisee who's at USC right now, again, who's playing, high level soccer, she's like, college is easier than Brooks, which is pretty neat because we hold kids to a high standard here, but just to be engaged and make sure that you're balanced in everything you do.
That's a great answer. Counting smiles. I'm going to use that
Counting
from now on.
smiles.
I'll give you credit for it. Well, Kenya,
Appreciate you.
thanks so much for coming on the podcast today. Appreciate you telling us about your background and about Brooks School and your philosophy. So thanks so much for coming on.
My pleasure, Cory. Anytime.
If you guys like this, be sure to subscribe on all the major podcasting platforms. Go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel there. If you have any interest in prep school, go to our website, prepathletics.com, fill out the free assessment on the homepage, and we get back to every single person that reaches out to us or calls us. We want to help you make the right prep to school decision. And, if it doesn't make sense, we'll help you with that too. But we appreciate tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Prep Athletics Podcast. Take care.